Screen Vixens is a professional community of women and female identifying screen producers. So we have a membership that basically spans all mediums of screen. We've got producers working in advertising, in web series, TV, scripted, unscripted, film, you name it. We probably have a vixen who's working in that sector. And inside our membership, we have a 24/7 community chat, which is like a private chat that you can ask any question in, no matter how small or how silly it feels. And we also have a growing resources section. So a lot of our meetups and sessions that we do, I'll record, and then we have a growing video library. So there's a learning side and then the community side working together.
What inspired you to start Screen Vixens?
When I was just returning from London, I had about nearly 7 years in London working over there, and I was pregnant with our first baby, and we kept thinking, do we stay in London? Do we come home? What are we doing? And we thought, no, we must come home because we want to come home. We miss all our family, and if we don't, we never will. So we returned, and I was very heavily pregnant, hadn't lined up any new work because I was about to have my first baby. And I was trying to find local writers and directors that I could partner up with to potentially produce for them. So it was quite a lonely time trying to re-enter the industry, having been gone for so long. And a friend of mine called Brooke Goldfinch, she had just returned from New York. She'd been studying over there, and she invited me to this meeting called Film Fatales, which was a meetup of women writers and directors. And when she was telling me about this, I was thinking, how do I get invited to this very special group of people? And she said, would you like to come along? And even though I was a producer, I said, yes, please. I went along, and I just fell in love with, they had a bit of a structure to their meeting. I loved the organization. Brooke introduced me to the woman who started it over in LA, and I had a Zoom with her, and I said, I would love to start this for producers, because I felt like it was the exact thing I was missing. I was missing community and connection, and that was the thing I was really searching for. So Leah Meyerhoff, who is the founder of Fatale, said, yeah, sure, you can go ahead as long as you're happy to do all the work. You can't call yourselves Fatales because that's for directors, but you can be a sister group. And we started from there, and I basically took all the bits I loved from their meeting structures and the way they were organized, and then just added in a bit of my own. And the very first meeting we had it was like the biggest, weirdest blind date you could imagine. I basically invited 10 women. I knew maybe one or two, invited them over on a Sunday afternoon for afternoon tea. And at the time I thought, is anyone going to turn up? I'm so nervous about this. But they did. We had about 6, I think, for that first one. And it was, from there, it was a go. We did it every month. We got better and better at what we were doing, and word spread. And it just became one of those really lovely, organic, growing groups. And that was back in 2015. And we actually turned 10 this year. So it's pretty amazing to think back. And it's ebbed and flowed throughout COVID and all sorts, and me moving. But now we have a really great national collective, and we do most of our meetings online.
Over the 10 years, how much has it grown?
Last year, I gave it a real glow up. I thought I really need to professionalize this and turn it into something really consistent and streamlined. So I moved us all across onto our own platform. And so now we're not at the whim of Mark Zuckerberg or the algorithm, or you won't miss anything in our chat. It's all there for you to find. You can search it properly. A lot of people moved across with me, and now I'm starting to grow it again. I guess it's like Vixens 2.0. My next big step is to go international with it. I really want Vixens to be all across the world, because I think we're all grappling with quite universal challenges. And now in Australia, I'm pretty confident to say if you go to an industry event in Australia, you will find another Vixen there. And I want to be able to say that for most of the major international meetups as well. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. And you touched on this feeling that you missed that community. Was that the main driver for you with starting Screen Vixens to create that community? And what kind of hopes did you have for the women who were to join you in that?
Yeah, I think initially that was my main reason. In a selfish way, I was looking for connection and community. And I was a bit hesitant. I thought, oh gosh, funding's so tight here. We're a much smaller population. Are producers going to feel really territorial about their slate and their funding? And it was the exact opposite. I have never met a more generous, kind, giving group of women. The sharing of knowledge and intel it blows my mind every single time we all interact. And it's definitely grown into, there's a lot more professional development in there now too, which before it has grown as I've grown and as I've had my family's grown. But now I think we're filling in a lot of the gap for women independent producers, especially who perhaps aren't in a company or a team, and they're working in isolation, and often producers are in a little island on set as well. They're managing all these people around them in the crew and the cast, but they don't have a sounding board when it's a particularly hectic, every day is hectic on set. Something might have just happened and you don't really have anyone to go, what just happened then? Can we just talk that through? Or what could I have done differently there? And that's what the Vixens has become. It's now this incredible sounding board for everyone who needs it. And we're doing a lot more masterclasses and pep talks with industry experts, and that professional development side is really helping Vixens accelerate their career, and that momentum is really crucial, I think.